our good friend of the show, David Donovan, sent us a press release. If you remember, he is the founder and organizer for Hurricane, and not Hurricane Ian down in Florida, but Hurricane Sandy. I believe it was Sandy that was that hit New York a while ago.
Correct. Yep.
And they are doing renovations to the church up there. His church, Bethany, New York. Bethany Congregational Church of East Rockaway, New York. So Hurricane is back and is going to take place November 19th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. in Bethany Congregational Church, 100 Main Street, East Rockaway, New York. For a $5 donation, you get in. Lots of comic guests, comics for sale, cosplaying going on, fun stuff, and all proceeds go to rebuild the church to its former glory. So please check that out and support them if you can. If you want to reach out to David and help in some other way, you can give him a call. 516-209-1587, or send him an email, hurricon, HURRICON, @yahoo.com. Support Hurricane 2022. It's for a good cause, man. It's comics. It's for a good cause. Do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. This episode of Comics for Fun and Profit is brought to you by Repeats. You know what I'm talking about. Those podcasts that take a week off, slip in an old episode. Think you're not going to notice. Think they planned it like they planned it the whole time. Like, oh, we're just celebrating this old stuff that we used to do. Isn't it great? Look how far we've come. Or weren't we better then? Type of sentiment. You begrudgingly roll your eyes. Like, all right, I'm going to give you this one. Give you this one freebie. But after that, back to the new stuff, bro. You ain't fooling anybody with your rehashed, lukewarm, leftover episodes from pre-COVID. World was a different place back then. We don't want to hear about that crap. Anyway, enjoy our flashback rewind from Comics for Fun and Profit.
Aloha, this is Jason from Hawaii. Welcome to a special edition of the Comics for Fun and Profit podcast. In this episode, I interviewed Jemma Young and Chad Hardin, the creative team behind Temerity. Now, let's get started. I'm here with writer Jemma Young and artist and part-time Maui resident, Chad Hardin.
Hey.
How are you guys doing?
Good.
Okay, so I'm going to start off. So can you just promote your social platforms for our listeners?
Sure thing. So I am on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, and my handle is @JemmaMYoung. Mm-hmm. But you can also read my comics on Webtoons. I have 3 comics that I do. I have Children of Elder, Temerity, obviously, and Zelda's Lullaby.
All right. Oh, Chad, now I can see you.
Yeah.
Oh, Chad, yeah.
Yeah, I found out which button turned me on, so that sounded bad. Anyway, so I'm at Hardin_art on Instagram, Hardin_art on Facebook, Chad Hardin Art on Facebook business pages, and then Chad Hardin, all one word, on Twitter and Patreon.
Okay. All right. So the focus of this interview is basically we're going to talk about your guys' Kickstarter campaign. The second issue of, well, actually, the Kickstarter is called Temerity. But this time around, we're going to be promoting Temerity, the Runaway.
Yep.
Right? That's currently on Kickstarter right now, right?
It is Kickstarter and Indiegogo.
Okay. All right. And then correct me if I'm wrong. So today is February 5th. The campaign for the Kickstarter campaign, it ends on Friday, February 11th. And on
Thursday.
On Thursday. Sorry. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fine. Correct me. Yeah. And then on Indiegogo, it ends on Friday, February 12th.
Yes, correct.
All right. Now I'm going to ask, are you guys putting the campaign out on any other platforms, or I don't know, what other, are you guys going to continue the Kickstarter, the Temerity?
Yeah. So Temerity, we're just launching the second issue. It is on Kickstarter and Indiegogo. After the campaigns end, we'll keep it live on Indiegogo in their in-demand program. So if you miss out on the campaign, you'll be able to back it there and get your copy that way.
And then we're also going to do the survey on Kickstarter.
Yeah, so we'll probably
well.
do a CrowdOx or backer kit survey. So if you miss it, you'll be able to use our pre-order store.
Oh, well, that's pretty cool.
And if you are not familiar with Temerity at all,
Yes.
please read and subscribe to Temerity on Webtoons Canvas.
Yep.
And if you just go on to Webtoons and you search Temerity, it'll pop up. We are currently at 2.5 million reads and 65,000 subscribers.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Let's see. Also, too, I'm going to put this out there too. Also, check out Chad and Gemma's interview on the Comic Source podcast. It just dropped on February 3rd. So if you guys get a chance, also check out their interview on that podcast as well. Now, I'm going to just start off this. How did the team of Temerity come together? How did you guys come up with this idea?
You want me to tell it this time, Gemma?
Sure.
So Jemma was when I first started doing conventions, I really, there wasn't a need for me to have much help, but then I started doing books like Dragon Age, and my popularity started picking up, and Jemma was like, well, if you need help going to shows, I'd be happy to help you. And so Jemma became my assistant at shows. And how many years did we do it, Jemma? Like 3 or 4 or 5?
I don't think it was that many. I mean, we've been doing conventions for a while.
Well, I think
full time was like a couple years.
Yeah, I think what happened, but anyway, Jemma was basically my assistant, and until she got pregnant with Remy, and at that point she was like, okay, I'm like, I need to be a mom full time. But what would happen is we would go to shows, and we would work extremely hard, especially during the Harley years. And it was really like a family thing. Like, so it'd be like, sometimes it'd be like Jemma, Joy, Jacob, and I, like, all going to shows together, staying up all night, doing commissions, drawing pages. Jemma never got credit in the Harley Quinn books, but she's actually like inked Harley just because it was one of those things where it's like, to do everything, like everybody had to be on deck. And matter of fact, there's even pictures on the internet that are actually Jacob, who's Jemma's husband, and they'll say Chad Hardin. So, like, for a long time, it was, basically both of our families like working really hard to make sure that, I was hitting my DC deadlines. And what happened though is we both sort of understood that what I was doing with Harley was not entirely sustainable, because I was going to shows every weekend. And we were working. It was completely exhausting. And so Jim is like, what is your end game here? And I was just like, well, when Harley's over, I really think I would like to try doing my own book.
Yes.
And she was like, well, what do you want to do? And I was like, I don't know. I just want to do something science fiction. Like, I'm like, I have all these alien designs in my head.
Yes.
And I have all these spaceship designs in my head. And I want to do, like, laser guns and lightsabers, and she was like, well, that sounds cool, but like, what's the story? I'm like, I have no story. I was like, I have zero story. I am not a storyteller. And Jemma was like, she's like, well, I sort of have this idea that I've been kicking around forever. Do you want to hear it? And I'm like, sure. And so what started happening is we would do the conventions, and then we'd be driving home.
Yes.
And normally normally we would get in the car and I would pass out from exhaustion, and I would just sleep all the way home. But so Jemma started reading me the scripts on the trips home, and even though I was exhausted, I liked the story enough that I would stay awake like the entire trip home.
Yes.
And so, like, and we would talk about things, and it just got me like really excited, and so we made it a goal, like, okay, when you leave Harley, let's do this.
Yes.
And so we did it, and obviously we did Temerity issue 1. We did really well, but what I was not prepared for was just when you make a creator-owned book, it is 10 times harder than working for Marvel and DC. And even though like Jemma actually basically wears the hat of editor, and I mean Jemma, okay, I still just all I do is color the pages, but I still have to promote, which goes against my nature. I am an introvert. I do not like being on the internet. Even stuff like this, it gives me butterflies just to get on live casts and podcasts and live streams. And so Jemma really does run everything, and then I draw. But the level of difficulty, the stress level, because everything that happens with this is either Jemma or I. And I thought, for some reason, I don't know why, I thought it'd be easy, and it's not. But anyway, we had great fan support with issue number 1.
Yes.
We didn't have anything on Webtoons. Now we have a very healthy subscriber base on Webtoons. It is so awesome, like interacting with our fans, and everyone's responding to it. And we've already, I was worried with issue 2 we would see a drop, but we haven't seen a drop. We've actually seen an increase.
Yes.
So we're really thrilled. And the real goal, and right now we're so close to our 20K goal. But we'd really like to have 30,000, because if we get to 30,000, then I think I can basically do this full time, just like I did Harley full time.
Yes.
And really put, instead of like doing the, okay, well, I have 5 minutes here. Let's see if I can get a panel done in 5 minutes, which that never happens, by the way.
It doesn't.
But that's the goal. So we're close enough with this campaign that we can sort of taste it. So anybody that's listening, if you can help us out, we understand times are tough. If you don't have money, we get it. Trust us, we get it. Just like and share, or subscribe to the Webtoons for free, and like and share on Webtoons. Do anything you can to help us out. We really appreciate it.
This question is going for Jemma. So Jemma, can you talk to us about the 2 main characters?
The 2 main characters? Yeah, so
characters, but
yeah, so we have Naya, who is our purple alien. She's very energetic. She's a marksman. She's a polyglot. She speaks lots of different languages, and she's just very, very excited to exist. And she's part of the Temerity. And then Teru is a genetically enhanced super soldier. He was enrolled in the military at the age of 4, and he's trying to escape the project that created him and search for a friend that he lost like 2 years previously, and he ends up accidentally on the starship Temerity, so he becomes part of this ragtag group of mercenaries doing lots of fun, crazy jobs around the universe.
So we know already the characters. And I should have asked you this, guys. So either one of you can chime in. So basically, what is Temerity about overall? The elevator pitch.
Overall, it is about Teru trying to escape the project that created him and search for his friend. And eventually, he and the Temerity try to take down the Daigen project and gain freedom, not only just for himself, but all of his fellow military kids.
See, and Jason, I know how big of a comic book fan you are.
Yes.
And I don't know about you, but the first movie I ever saw as a child was Star Wars. Okay, I got this close to naming my little brother Darth Vader. Okay, and you know how much I love comic books. You know how much I love comic books. One of the things that just irritates me the most about comics is there's no sci-fi comic books. There's none.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to do a space opera, and you go to a publisher and like, Chad, hey, pick your project, whatever you want to work on, and you're like, I want to do a space opera, and they're like, go someplace else, and so Jim was like the only one that was like, okay, we're doing this, like we're gonna do this together. And anyway, so I mean, but that's what it is. If you grew up loving Star Wars, you grew up loving Star Trek, you grew up loving Firefly, you grew up loving Buck Rogers,
Yes.
you name it. If you are a sci-fi fan,
Transformers, mechas,
Yes.
anime.
Yes. Robotech, exactly, yes. So
It's kind of got a flair of both Western and Japanese sci-fi in it.
Yes, and that's if you're a fan of any of that, this is the comic for you.
Because it is. I got the first issue through your last Kickstarter, Chad, which was the Art of Chad Hardin Volume Number 3.
Okay.
And so I finally got the hard copy, and I'm looking. This is beautiful, and I love your artwork. You're detailing the artwork, the backgrounds. I see someone that looks like Roddy Piper with a shotgun in the background.
Yeah, we're putting lots of Easter eggs in. So and then so Roddy Piper from They Live.
Yep.
We have a character named Julius who is a giant Arnold Schwarzenegger fan.
Yes.
His entire body is tattooed with quotes from all of Arnold's movies. There are I have like a xenomorph queen that's a bartender. I have space monkeys that are drinking at the space bar. I have radicalized Jawas. So if you're a sci-fi fan, the Easter eggs are there for you.
But not only sci-fi fans, but I see Storm in the background.
That's not Storm.
Not Storm.
No.
It's just a mohawk.
It's a cosplayer.
That's not Storm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've gotten fans who are like, okay, here a new page is up. Where is the Easter egg?
Yeah.
Like they don't miss anything, and it's awesome.
They don't. I think I'm very. There's only one Easter egg that I'm aware of that nobody's claimed yet, and I'm not gonna tell what it is. But you have got to be a god level nerd.
Okay.
To get this Easter egg, and I'm waiting for someone to find it, and no one's found it yet.
And then also too, because like I said, because I got my hard copy, I love, and also too, Enrica, your colors.
Enrica, oh,
Yes.
she is fantastic.
The colors are very vibrant.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Jemma.
we wanted to make a book that, you saw the cover and like, oh, this looks like an interesting book, and you open it and the inside was just as beautiful as the exteriors, because like a lot of comics, they have like really beautiful covers, but the artwork doesn't match the cover. We wanted to make something that the inside was equally as beautiful and engaging as the cover.
Well, and to get good artwork, everybody has to be equally talented. It doesn't matter, like if you have a good inker and a good colorist, but a bad penciler, it doesn't work. If you have a good penciler, a bad inker, and a good colorist, everybody has to be on their A game. And Enrica is definitely, she's a superstar, and we're just, every page we do, it's like Christmas getting that page back when it's colored. She's definitely part of the team. We just wish she was closer. Either we got to move to Italy, or she has to move to Utah, and but she's amazing, and we're lucky that I feel lucky every day that she's on board.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, so I'm going to continue on because I know we're on a limited time right now. Can I just ask you guys, can someone just recap me what the first issue is? And then afterwards, if you guys can tell us what the story for the second issue is without any spoilers.
Okay. So the first issue is kind of just like a little taste of Naya and what she does on the job, and taking down bounty hunters in her very just Naya-like way. And And then it's also about Teru, who is caught in the middle of a space battle and trying to make it off the station without dying.
Mhm.
And so that's always fun, and fighting mechas with his bare hands.
Now
With
that-
his bare hands, he's taking
Yes.
down.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he's taking down Gundam. So
Yes.
yeah.
Anyways, and then so that kind of ends with him escaping
Mhm.
Yamamoto Station, and then issue 2 picks up right where we left off, where the Temerity ends up finding that Teru is tailing them, and it's basically Teru trying to prove that he's worth keeping around and not just handing back over to the enemy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's so yeah. So issue 1 is, you know, you get introduced to everybody,
Yes.
and issue 2, it's like the plot thickens.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But it's
This
go
yeah,
ahead, Jimmy. Sorry.
it's a very plot driven, character driven story, so every issue is, you know, important to the plot. It's not going to be all the characters progress throughout time.
Okay.
Yeah, and that is something I really want to emphasize to our readers. You know, Jemma has, I mean, she literally has enough story that we could work on this full time for 10 years. I mean, that's how long it would take us to finish this if we worked on it full time for 10 years. You know, we have enough story to go that way. And I think what happens with a lot of independent books,
Yes.
and don't get me wrong, I fully support anyone who's an independent creator. Any way you can make it, I applaud you, okay? But I do see like a lot of independent creators just bouncing around issue number 1, and it just sort of stays in the issue number 1 realm, because traditionally you see that drop from issue 1 to issue 2. And that, you know, for us, we are trying to build a story, and we want to take this as far as we can go. And so, you know, we're not just going for, you know, we're not in here just trying to make a quick buck.
Mhm.
We are in here trying to build a universe, and we need everybody's help to do it.
Okay. All right. So again, because I'm going to keep moving along. So again, where can people back this Temerity, the Runaways issue number 2? Where can they go and back up this project?
Okay.
They,
So, go ahead, Jemma.
they can pledge on Kickstarter or Indiegogo,
Mhm.
and they each have their own exclusive cover for the different platforms.
Mhm.
And if you missed out on the first campaign, there are beginner bundles, so you can grab the first issue.
And then we also have Kickstarter.
Mhm.
And then, like I said, if for any reason you can't afford right now to back us, we understand that. Just like the webtoons, share the webtoons. It's free to everybody right now. Support us on our social media. Just really getting the grassroots movement is extremely helpful. Just
Mhm.
extremely helpful. So, you know, even if you just hear this podcast, give us a try, and if you like it, you know, just help spread the word, and that's all we ask. But I guarantee you that you should have a good time.
Yeah.
I guarantee you're gonna have a good time, and you won't regret the time spent reading the book.
Yeah, because I'm going to give a plug out for issue number 1. I've read it. I love it. It's a lot of fun. I love the artwork. I love because Chad, the colors and the art really pop off the page. I mean, it's like it really grabbed me. It really did. And I'm not saying that just to say that, but it was like, wow, this is great.
Thank you.
And Jemma Naya, I love her because she's a sweet little innocent, and all of a sudden she's this this like a deadly bounty hunter assassin. Then after she's finished with her job, she's going, okay, I'm going to play Candy Crush right now.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the other thing that's fun about it is, you know, I sort of come from that old school comic guard. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You know, the comic reader that grew up with, you know, I'm the Claremont X-Men crowd.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Those were the books that were hot.
Mm-hmm.
But like I was heavily influenced by manga, like just insanely influenced. And people don't know this a lot, but when I first did my portfolio reviews,
Mhm.
I very much had a manga style, and all the American editors, like I probably was able to get in front of like 10 editors,
Yes.
a lot from Marvel, a lot for DC, and then some, from other larger publishers, and all of them but one basically said that they would never give me work unless I changed my style. And so I did go back and change my style,
Mhm.
but when I came back, by the time I came back,
Mhm.
everyone, Joe Madrero is like the number one artist. You know what I mean? Raphael Albuquerque,
Mhm.
Sean Gordon Murphy. It's like I went back and changed my style just to come back when every editor on the planet was like, okay, it's okay to do manga now. So I was sort of right there on that cusp where I really think that the popularity of manga right now is just insane. So there is a lot of manga flavor in this. It does appeal to. We're going for a book that is all ages. That people from my generation can read it. People that are my kids' age can read it, and everybody should be able to have a good time.
Jemma, do you want to add anything else to that?
I don't know. Writing this I have a very manga anime style. I'm actually part Japanese, so like I just love manga, and so I put a lot of that sort of flair into the script, and so yeah, I don't know. Yes.
Well, also, too, I'm going to add, but since you mentioned that too, Gemma, because in Temerity issue number 1, you also have a short story that you wrote and drew.
Yes, yeah, I did a short comic, yeah.
No, but it's really nice. But that was also, but that's a little bit taste of your manga style, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty cool. It's pretty fun. I like it.
Thanks.
No, you're welcome.
It was a fun little story,
Mm-hmm.
and Gemma is actually obligated now to do another mini comic in the back.
Yeah, I'm gonna do another mini comic for
Yep.
issue number 2.
Yep.
Yes.
So no escape now. She's obligated.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to ask, is there anything else you guys want to, any other last words about plugging Temerity before I move on to one more question and couple fun questions?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh. I would just, like I said, and I've said this before, but I would really, just watching the response with what we've been able to do on weekends and in our spare time. And don't get me wrong, like, it's not like I have a ton of spare time, and it's not like Jemma has a ton of spare time. If we've been able to do this, and become this successful with Temerity in the brief moments of free time that we have, it would be so nice to be able to deliver this. Our number one complaint on Webtoons is that we're not able to basically produce more content and have regular updates. And the reason why we're doing this is so we can do exactly that, so that we can make this more of a priority. And it's not going to play second fiddle to anything else. It will be the thing that we're working on. So we already funded. We funded in 15 minutes on Kickstarter. We funded in 5 minutes on Indiegogo. But if we can reach that 30K threshold, then at that point we can really make it a priority, and we would love to get there, and we're going to need everybody's help to do it. So that would be my last thing. Like, help me so I can do this full time. If you enjoy it, if you back me with Harley, if you back me with Wonder Woman, if you back me with Dragon Age, please back me now. I think this is definitely worth the effort. And I hope that it, right now people still know me as the Harley guy. And I love that attention. Don't get me wrong. I love that attention, but I would love to be known for this eventually. I would like this to be the thing that I'm known for. And don't get me wrong, I love Harley, and I've loved everything that DC's done for me. I don't want to sound ungrateful, but there's just something special about working on something that you're a creator on, and that's the only, like, as much fun as Harley, that I had with that team. There's just a little bit of heartbreak in that it's not mine.
Mm-hmm.
And like even when we got done working on the book, it's like you hand it off to another creative team, and they just sort of they take it in a completely different direction. And so I think that's the challenge with creator owned. It's like, okay, if you're going to make this commitment,
mm-hmm.
You've got to make. I mean, look at Todd McFarlane.
Yes.
It's going to be something. He's in it for the long haul. Todd's always been my idol, and everything he's ever told me, it's come 100% true. So, we're prepared to be in it for the long haul. We just need the fan support to continue on this momentum,
mm-hmm.
so that we can do it full time.
Jemma, do you want to add anything before I move on?
I guess just the same lines as Chad of, when you work for these other publishers, you don't own the content that you create. Like, you literally hand the art over and you can't use it ever again for anything of your own. And so being able to go creator owned allows us to keep what we work on and have ownership over. And we want to make it sustainable, so that way it pays the bills instead of having to do other stuff to pay the bills and then working on this in the cracks between when we have very limited time.
Yeah. But I think we can do it. I'm excited. Yeah. I'm really excited. I was excited. I was very nervous. And then day one, when we funded in 15 minutes, then I calmed down just a little bit. But now it's like, I really want that 30K. You know what I mean? Like, and we're so close. We are within reach.
We are 2/3 of the way there. We are like borderline 20,000 right now.
Yep. Yeah. And we still have a third to go.
Yeah, so we have 1 week left when we're recording this anyways.
Yep. So we're just trying to cross that finish line.
Okay. But I think basically, but I know what you guys, I'm not a writer, I'm not an artist, but what it just basically sounds like, this is your guys' passion project.
Yes.
That's what that's where you're going to put in, this is where you're going to put in all your love. This is where are you going to put in, and that's what it is. And Chad and Jemma, I hear you guys where you're saying that, it is great to work for other companies. It is, because it pays the bills, but this is the passion project where this is your own. This is how you guys are putting all your loving, all the love into it. Everything you love, Chad, from Star Wars to, like you mentioned, Buck Rogers. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And then,
it
was like,
No, I watch everything. Like my current, and don't get me wrong, I love the Mando, but The Expanse, like if you're not watching season 5 of The Expanse, but and the other thing I just want to stress, this is our families. Like, I would love to get to the point, like if this got successful and we got to do it part-time, then the next goal is like to, like I currently employ my daughter.
Yes.
You know what I mean? She's like my full-time assistant. I would love for my wife to be able to quit her accounting job and and do the accounting for, you know what I mean? Like, if we grow, it allows my family to come together. And honestly, like Jacob and Jemma at this point, like they're family too.
Yeah, we're pretty much family at this point.
Mean, like we even when we're not doing Temerity stuff, like if we take a break, it's either at my house or their house. So
it's movie night and pizza and sushi.
And we play games, and so I mean, I would just love it that it feels like we're getting paid to play, but at the same time, like we do take it seriously. We do take it seriously.
It's a lot of hard work. Yeah. It is so much work.
Yeah. and there's crying sometimes, you know, but you know, they're usually tears of joy after accomplishing something. So,
and also too, Jemma, it shows, you know, the influence of, you know, what your manga reading too, in the stories, and also the short stories too. That so, you know, and it really shows the love of what you do comes across clearly, because again, this is your guys' passion project. These are your characters. So that's
Yeah, and I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm also a comic artist as well.
yes.
So I think that definitely helps when writing a script or a story specifically for comics, is I'm able to think, okay, does this work as a comic, writing this type of story and this type of action? And so hopefully that helps with the writing and makes it more engaging story.
Okay, so I'm gonna start closing up already. So because I know our time is running short. So fun questions. I'm just gonna go into your fun questions right now.
Cool.
Drew from Comics for Fun and Profit. Do you guys have a favorite LCS you guys want to give a shout out to in your area?
Jimmy, you want to go first? Or you want me to?
What? Sorry.
A local comic book store.
Yeah.
A local comic book store. I usually go to the Dragon's Keep in Orem and Provo.
So there's Dragon's Keep. In St. George, Utah, there's Comics Plus. In Sugar House, there's Black Cat Comics. In West Valley, there is the Nerd Store. And then in Salt Lake, there's Dr. Volt's. The Utah comic scene is very connected. We're
also very small.
Yeah. So
it's like, we just named all the comic book stores in Utah.
almost, you know, almost, but we are though. Like we're sort of a big family, you know, a comic book family, and everyone's cool. So we're just trying to keep it that way.
Let's see. What are you guys currently reading right now?
Webtoons.
Webtoons. Comic wise, I've been reading some different comics like Cast Off by Starfish, and you know, just different things on Webtoons. But I just finished reading Brandon Sanderson's Rhythm of War. That was a read. It's 1,200 pages.
Oh my gosh. You know what though? Like at least he pumps out the books on time. So my favorite book at the moment is a book called Mom, I'm Sorry on Webtoons. And just so you know, Jason, like you know me, like there are certain artists that if they do anything, I'm gonna buy what they do. Like Amanda Connor, Travis Charest, Arthur Adams, Adam Hughes. So for the most part, I collect not by the writer, but you know, but by the artist. But there is one comic that right now I'm addicted to, and it's called Mom, I'm Sorry, and it is a webtoon about there's a son. He's like a terrible son, and his mom gets cancer, and she's terminally ill, and he makes a deal with the devil to bring his mom back, but the devil brings his mom back as like a teenage girl. So he's like now the parent, and he's raising her, but she still has all the knowledge. You know what I mean? Like she's, you know. But anyway, it is like the cutest, most wholesome story, and I am having the time of my life reading it, and I'm fully addicted. And then I also read my students' work. I also subscribe to the Kiss Bet. Ingrid is one of my former students at UVU, and then of course I follow Jemma's stuff, Children of Eldar, and I haven't read Zelda's Lullaby as extensively, but I'm about 3 graphic novels into Children of Eldar. I'm trying to get all the way caught up because I don't know how much I can talk about it, but there are fans that are asking questions, and I'm like, okay, I don't know, but maybe I should. So,
is this person in Children of Elder
yes,
and in Temerity? And I'm like,
yes.
what are you talking about?
Yeah,
These
like,
aren't
well,
connected.
and when they ask me, I really don't know. But then there's more than one person asking, and I'm like, okay, I gotta know. So, and then I see a lot of what Gemma does with Zelda's Lullaby on Instagram. But I'm gonna subscribe on Webtoons as well. But if you're not on Webtoons, it's awesome.
Okay.
It's awesome. So
where a lot of the comics are going these days.
I think, yeah, I think they have the platform. I have no idea what their readerships are like, but I've looked at some of these numbers on some of the books that I look at, and their subscription base is in the millions.
Wow.
So they're dwarfing, and it doesn't track. It doesn't track the reads until you read, at least one episode. Okay, so it's not like if you just like stumble on it, and then they track likes, and then they track subscriptions, so you can see how many people have read it. You can see how many people have actually liked it, and then you can see how many people are following it with the same enthusiasm that like I'm following other stuff, and the numbers that people are reading on Webtoons just dwarf. It's like a whole other comic universe that I knew nothing about until we started doing Temerity. So, yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
It is. It is.
All right, my last fun question. Do you guys have a favorite restaurant you guys want to give a shout out to? And the favorite dish from that restaurant?
The Sushi Garden Bistro on State Street and 500 North in American Fork, Utah. And I'm a classic guy. I like the unagi nigiri.
Gemma?
I like the Yamato, which is a Japanese restaurant in Orem, Utah, and they do really good teriyaki. But there's also a really good ramen restaurant called Asa Ramen.
Oh, I forgot
and it was like
about
the
Asa Ramen.
first real ramen shop to ever come to Utah, and it's amazing.
It is amazing. That's a good pick. Maybe I need to change my pick. No, I'll stick with the Sushi Garden Bistro. They have the receipts to prove that I eat there a lot. So yeah.
All right, I'm going to start wrapping this up. Any last words to our listeners?
Just thank you so much. We miss you. We miss Hawaii is such an awesome, magical place. I was at every amazing Hawaii ever, except I feel so bad because you take it for granted. I was like, oh, well,
I'll be back next
next time. It's not a big deal that I didn't get to go, and then now it's like been 2 years.
Yes.
And and the Hawaii fans are the best. So we miss you, we love you, and we hope to see you soon.
I hope to be able to come someday.
Yeah.
I haven't had a chance, and that's my dream. Get to Hawaii.
So awesome.
And then if you guys could promote your social platforms for the listeners one last time.
I am on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Jemma M. Young. I'm also on Patreon and Webtoons. You can just look up my name on Webtoons, and my 3 comics will pop up.
And I am Hardin_art on Instagram and Facebook. I am Chad Hardin, all one word, on Twitter and Patreon. And then I think I'm Hardin_art on TikTok as well.
Gemma, Chad, thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for doing this interview, coming on to promote Temerity. Until next time, guys, aloha.
Aloha. Hope to see you soon.
I hope to see you soon, Chad.
Okay, bud.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
That was my interview with Gemma Young and Chad Hardin, the creative team behind Temerity. Now, if you get a chance and if you can afford to, please pick up the first issue of Temerity, from Gemma's website. I read the first issue. It's a lot of fun. I really like it. It's a lot of fun, and I love the character Naie. She's awesome. That character is really awesome. And also too, Chad Hardin's art, along with colorist, and I'm going to try to pronounce her name as best I can, Enrica Enren Angelioni. Her colorist, Chad Hardin's art are incredible in the first issue. So I can't wait to see how issue 2 is going to be. It's just, I'm sure it's going to be awesome, but I just can't wait to look at that second issue. Also too, in this first issue of Temerity, Chad drew this incredible Robotech style mech suit that's totally awesome. It really is. Also, and if you can afford to, please back up Temerity number 2, The Runaway, that's currently on Kickstarter and Indiegogo. But let's say if you missed the campaign, and you still want to, pick up Temerity 2, The Runaway, it will be available on the Indiegogo website under their Indie Man section. Next, I want to give a few shout outs. I want to thank Chad and Jemma for their time to do this interview. And I also want to thank, Drew of the Comics for Fun and Profit podcast. Thank you very much for letting me contribute to your podcasts. And, and if you are a new listener to the Comics for Fun and Profit podcast, please check out their weekly episode that comes out every Saturday. My Ohioan brothers, Drew and Kyle, they do spec picks of new releases that comes out every Wednesday. And finally, I want to thank you, the listeners, for listening to this episode. So thank you very much for your time. Until next time, guys, aloha.
In a world ravaged by war and chaos, a group of survivors must band together to brave the dangers of a post-apocalyptic landscape. The year is 2000, and the world has been plunged into darkness. The nuclear fires have burned out, leaving behind a wasteland of ruins and radiation. But amidst the rubble and despair, a glimmer of hope still remains. Join Dork Day Afternoon as they face off against marauding gangs, enemy soldiers, and even the harsh elements themselves in the world of Twilight 2000. Will our heroes survive the challenges ahead? Can they keep their own humanity intact? Or will they succumb to the harsh realities of life after the end of the world? 2 past midnight. An actual play podcast by Dork Day Afternoon.